So I wanted to talk a little bit about Duo Elise since it has been confirmed that the leaks were true. I was aware of the leaks. I just didn't really want to talk about them until they were confirmed. Honestly, I everyone thought they were fake, and deep down, I kind of knew they were real because there's no reason for them to be fake unless intelligent systems actually cares about me because we know, intelligent systems hate me. So because intelligent systems hate me, we knew that the leaks were going to be real. So just to start right off the bat, am I happy about Duo Elise? No, not really. I'm pretty disappointed. I didn't really have very high expectations anyway, and I'm still let down. So, why exactly am I not happy about Duo Elise? Well, first and foremost, I think that Intelligent Systems has pretty much confirmed with this that they do not believe that Elise is a viable character on her own. They do not believe that she is a character that can sell on her own. Waiting 3 years for an alt ever since Hostile Spring, she has not gotten an alt. Then the only times we see her ever since then have been slapped onto another unit. First, we had Ninja Corin, which people still try to convince me is somehow an Elise alt. It's not. But of course, out of all the characters they could have slapped on that unit, they could have put Shamir on it and made Elise free. Of course, they just slapped Elise on alt because why not? Of course, why not? So that was a thing. And then, you know, now we have this. Now we have this another duo. So it just seems to me that Intelligent Systems has seen they are still hurt. They are still hurt over what happened with Hostile Springs. That they just refuse to release these characters. And this is just my personal conspiracy theory because I mean they did the exact same thing with Hanoka. Hanoka got the pirate alt, but not by herself. She was with Camilla. Why? Maybe they thought Hanoka wouldn't sell on her own, but she's got Camilla with her, so maybe now she'll sell. Same thing here. Elise is not going to sell on her own. So let's not even give her a unit. Let's give Corin the 56th of her lineup and just slap Elise on it arbitrarily because why not? Just put any other character there. Just put Elise because why not? And so that happens. And now we have this is the Sakura's turn, I guess, because now Sakura cannot have her own standalone alt. She has to be stapled onto Elise. So they just cannot put these characters on their own for whatever reason. And I think this is probably the nail in the coffin for Elise Emblem. I don't think she's going to get any more alts after this, which is unfortunate because I really wanted her to have another standalone alt, but it is what it is. This is pretty much what I have to work with, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I understand that I'm making this video preemptively. Like the trailer has not come out yet officially. I don't know. We don't know what this unit does. We don't know what her skills technically do, other than like catch and she looks like she has auto recovery. So other than that, we don't know what her perf weapon does, and we don't know what her damage dealing special does. Which I am happy that she comes with that, but I'm also not happy that she comes with that because now I have to kill one of her to the original Elise because she needs to have that special. But regardless, let me just talk about, I guess, the essence of why I am not particularly happy with the alt in itself because I was pretty impressed with Intelligent Systems so far in how they were treating Elise's alts in terms of the fact that they were all at the very least different weapon types. The first one, of course, is a staff cleric, and then of course we have Summer Elise, who is an infantry tome, and then we have Hostile Spring Elise, who is a red dagger. So we have those three different alts, of course. And so I was looking forward to it. I thought they would do similar to what they did with Xander. Every one of his original alts were all a different color. So I had high hopes that Elise would be the same and that they were going to give her a blue alt for her final alt. And I was personally hoping that it would be a lance, specifically a lance flyer, which may seem like a very surprising thing that I wanted because a lot of people don't like lance flyers because we have so many of them. But I had very many reasons for wanting a lance flyer or any just kind of lance because as you can see, the current problem with Elise Emblem is the fact that they are all ranged. When it came to the most recent mythic battle with Goto and Fomortis, that was the hardest battle that we have had to do so far with the Elise Emblem. And, the reason is pretty obvious because there is no Elise that can take a hit. Like, look at the Elise stats. None of them have a defense stat. Like, just take a look at these stats right here. No defense to speak of on any of them. And the only one who can really take a red hit is the original Elise. And Summer Elise can pull it off if I build her properly, like what I had to do with Goto. Like I had to build her with res. But her base res stat is not very high. And it's not any better that this is the Elise that I had the least merges on. So I mean like it's not like I can do much to get her res to be higher unless I just give her new skills. But the main issue that I have here is that like not only have they repeated a specific variant of Elise entirely because they have given her the exact same movement type and weapon type as the original Elise. She is another staff cleric on a cav. That just kind of they didn't do anything different with her stat wise. She is exactly the same as all of her other alts. She is fast and she has high attack. And that's it. And they didn't even give her high res on this alt. Her res looks pretty mid. So that is just another disappointment in that I don't really understand why I just am confused. It just seems to me that they were doing so well with Elise alts. And so I mean I know that I was expecting too much and thinking that they were actually going to give her something with like a defense stat. I understand that that was very unlikely to happen in the first place. But I was at least hoping they were going to give her a melee weapon. Like, I really don't understand why they couldn't have made her melee. Like I said, like if we had just had one melee Elise, dealing with Fomortis and well, not really Fomortis, but Goto would have been a whole lot easier. A whole bunch of other clears would have been easier. Like Bramimon was a huge one. That was back when I wasn't even like trying to seriously like get all the kills with Elise. Like I think I used Resplendent Sophia had just come out, and I used her basically to tank Bramimon. But these days, I'm kind of trying to use the Elises properly, and so for just those hopes to kind of be dashed that I was going to get anything that I could actually use to make Elise Emblem viable, it's just kind of disappointing. I understand that logically, I really truly believe that they were probably going to give her a blue tome. I thought that was going to be her final variant, and I was hoping upon hope that it would be a flyer. But they gave her another cav, which is just like the hardest thing. One of the hardest things about Elise Emblem is positioning them, because I mean, so far I've been using the placeholder as Winter Mirabilis, which is a flyer, so she can like kind of stand on tiles that the other Elises can't. But like, unless this Elise has some sort of effect where she can ignore trenches, like it's not really going to help very much because it's so hard to get them like out of range because they can't take anything. So like, my only option with them is to get them in there and then get them out immediately. So I mean, the only thing I can really do when like the going gets tough and the tough gets going is to get them the heck out of there. But I can't do that when there are no tiles for them to stand on. These are abyssal maps here. Like they're not making it easy for you to move. There are all of these like open spaces where like the map just favors flyers and trenches and all these things that Elise Emblem just can't deal with. And this does not help. This is not helping. Now, there are some positive things. Like it looks like she comes with return, which is the reposition for healers. So that's pretty much the best skill they could have given her. To come with by default is return. So now I don't have to like order a return to her, but like they also gave her what looks like a damage dealing special, which is great because that is something that Elise Emblem has always been lacking in terms of Elise's damage, and that her damage can only be so much because she can't trigger specials. And it looks like she also has Wrathful Staff 4. So I guess we are getting some variant of Wrathful Staff and Dazzling Staff 4 in the future. We're getting Dazzling Staff 4, which the original Elise needs because she already comes with Wrathful Staff on her weapon. And, there's no way to give it Dazzling Staff. So, I mean, you can't re-refine it for Dazzling. So, like, I have to give her Dazzling Staff 4. That's, like, the only option here. But, I guess I really was hoping that they could at least give her a melee alt. Like, it's just very annoying for every single alt to be ranged. There is no access to Gale Force on these teams, so where I'm struggling to kill every enemy on a specific turn, there is no way to, like, alleviate that because I can't give them Gale Force. There's no way to make them attack multiple times in a single turn. They're not leaf or anything. I am certain that they're not going to give Duo Elise any kind of skill that makes them act again. So, that's just a bit unfortunate. I guess you could say having two clerics is not a bad thing because it means that they can heal more if they need more healing, which is good because they always die. But like, I don't know. I guess my expectations were a little bit too high. I was hoping that they would be a little more creative. I mean, I was looking at the banner again and like I don't know how I thought this. I originally thought that Leo was a flyer. I guess I wasn't I wasn't paying attention at all. But he wasn't a flyer, he was another Cav. So we have three Cav Leos, we have three Cav Elises, and it's like both of them only have one infantry. So like this Summer Elise is really like the best Elise, purely because she has infantry, and so she has access to actual skills. You know, look, the Cavs, they can't really do anything in terms of skills. Like they can get traces, I guess, but like I don't I don't find traces like that amazing. Like for the longest time, I didn't even have any traces on my Elises. So like, and now one of them is just built into this dagger. So like, the traces on the Elises is not like the most amazing thing for them. And so like, I just kind of wish that they would have done more in that regard, and they would have like tried to just make her more creative. And again, I could be wrong. Like maybe she is really creative, and like we'll see that when the trailer comes out. But just looking at it on the surface, I'm just not particularly happy about the weapon and the class type. You could have at least made her a flyer. I would have been happier if she was a flying um staff. If she was a flying staff, then at least that would have been something different. It would have been a movement type that we don't have yet for Elise. But unfortunately, she's a cat again, and you know, I don't know. I just don't think that like if maybe we could see like ascended Elise and she could be a tome, a blue tome, but I still think she's probably going to be a Cav. Like they just refuse to give her a fight, and I don't understand why. Because her reclass option in Fates is as a Wyvern, a Wyvern rider. So I really don't know why they are so afraid to give her a flyer. Like they gave everyone on Hostile Springs was a flyer except for Elise. She was the only non-flyer on that banner, and I'm still bitter about it, and I'm still mad about it because that was the only time they were going to give her a flyer. That was the only way it would have ever happened, and it didn't happen because they just refuse to give Elise any creativity other than her weapons, which is not really the case anymore because her newest one is the exact same as the original Elise, which I don't like. I don't like when they do that with any ults. I don't like when every Ike is a red sword. I don't like they do this for like Tharja emblem is like three red tones. One of them is at least in armor, but like why are they three red tones? And you know, I'm not mad that she's colorless because at least that means I'm not weak to the blue unit. Like I have I can cover a weakness. She's not like weak to anything except Raven tomes. But I still was hoping for something different. Like I really just wanted something melee. I really just wanted like a lance or something. I wanted Gale Force to be achievable on the team, and it's not. Like there's no way to Gale Force. And I guess you can say that there's a way for them to use a damaging special now if um her skill is inheritable to the original Elise. That would be great. But you know, I'm still just disappointed that it wasn't more because, like I said, the thing that Elise Emblem is truly lacking is defense. So when it came to my ideal Elise, I have changed this over the years, like because it's been so long that she's not gotten it all. I've changed what I want for her many times. For the longest time, it has been a Lance Flyer. Recently, with the addition of save skills, I thought that it would be cool if you could get an armor alt. I didn't really care what weapon type it was, but I thought an armor alt would be cool because you can always stack enough defenses and you can always stack enough resistance. So at a certain point, I would be able to get her stats high enough that she would be able to tank something in an abyssal map. Because realistically speaking, abyssal maps are not that hard. So if I can stack enough stats, I would be able to tank whatever I needed to, and the other Elises could just, run around and do what needed to be done. But of course, that was not an option because we didn't get an armor. So, I was really just hoping between a flyer or an infantry or an armor, just not a cab. Like, why another cab? And it's not like back in the day, I didn't want another cab because I was like, I was using tactic skills. And I was like, obviously, a tactics team is not going to work if you have three on one team. But these days, tactics are not really like, I don't really use tactics that much at this point. I try to use, I've given them menaces, so they have menaces. They have ruses, so I'm not really worried about like giving them stats. They can do that to themselves now. But my concern is really just like in terms of like coverage. Like if they ever release another Goto like abyssal map, it's kind of over. I don't see I don't see how, unless for some strange reason the Elise functions as like having adaptive damage. I don't see that happening, but like if that happens, then that would be a cool thing. But like it doesn't matter anyway because they're still ranged. Like if there's ever another Goto that has no C built into his weapon, there's nothing that we can do. Like they don't have the defense to tank the hit. There is no resistance to tank the hit. There is no way for them to tank any kind of hit And if Dazzling Staff doesn't work, then that's pretty much it. Like they can't do anything. So like I don't see like Elise Emblem being viable as like other teams. I will reference my friend Kino Say here, who has Lin Emblem, which Lin Emblem is pretty stacked. There's nothing that Lin Emblem really can't do. I mean, like there are infantries on there are melees, there are range. So there's different movement types. There's infantry, there's flyers, there's calves, there's an armor. So, there's a healer. They pretty much have all the coverage that they need, even if they don't have every single combination of weapons and colors. They have enough that they can do whatever they need to do. So I'm pretty envious of Lin Emblem and other emblems like Camilla Emblem, all these other emblem teams, but they have like they have a lot of variety. Xander Emblem, even I don't see a lot of people running Xander Emblem, but even a well-built Xander Emblem is gonna be pretty stacked because they just cover everything. Like one of them is a dancer, even so, like they have everything that they need. Even though like Spring Xander kind of holds the team back, honestly, you can kind of bench you can kind of bench Spring Xander if you need. But like with Elise, you can't bench any of the Elises. There's only four, and so like I'm not using the freaking Corrin. Stop! Don't bring a Corrin. I'm not using the Corrin. The Corrin, the Ninja or the Ninja Corrin. I'm not using Ninja Corrin. So like you can't bench any of them. And it's just disappointing that even if like Ninja Corrin is still ranged, she's still a ranged cap. She's the exact same unit as Duo Elise, except the fact she's a green tome and not a cleric. So like she's the exact same unit. And she's probably a better unit because she's not a cleric and she has an auto dance. So like I don't believe for any second that they're gonna give Elise a dance. I just don't think it's gonna happen. And even if they do, I don't know if I'm gonna use the duo skill during the I don't like using the cheating skills. There's nothing wrong with them. If other people use them, I don't care. But like I personally try not to use like things like dances or things like that, just so that I'm playing like a normal emblem team would play that doesn't have the option to dance. But I'm just a little. I guess I'm just very salty that they didn't do anything that Elise Emblem needed. What Elise Emblem needed to be like viable and functional was something that could take a hit on something that was not resistance. Because I mean, let's just go through the Elises real quick. OG Elise is pretty much the only one that can take any sort of like hit on resistance, and I typically run her with Miracle, so she's capable of surviving hits, and she's fast enough that she doesn't get doubled too often. So when it comes to tanking resistance, there's, original Elise. Summer Elise can be built for it. Most of the tomes and skills for mages assume that you're going to be building them for resistance. So I can stack up enough resistance on her if need be. So that's an option. Hasdale Springs Elise is a freaking lost cause. She can't do anything. Like literally, she cannot take any sort of hit unless it's like a green mage. And that's only because I have merges on her and she has like skills that reduce, like she has lulls, she has the trace, so she can lower the in combat attack stats. But like other than that, she is not taking a hit. She is gonna die to like any strong enough hit. If there's a counter attack that needs to be taken, she is not going to be taking it. So I was really hoping that Elise Emblem would give us something that could take a hit. That was like you had one job, intelligence systems, you had one job, and it was to just give me something that could survive a hit. And you didn't even do that. You just couldn't even do that for me. I don't think that was like a difficult, task. And I know the reason why they made her a cleric is probably almost entirely because she's paired with Sakura, which I do have to say, if Elise was ever going to get a duo unit, I only wanted her to be paired with Sakura. So I am happy that they at least did that she was paired with Sakura. I would have been disappointed if it was like literally anyone else. To be honest, as an Elise fan, I'm not really the biggest fans of Effie and Arthur. Like they're okay, but I'm not like clamoring for their alts or anything like that. I don't have any of them built. I don't really, they're just kind of mad to me. They exist. So like I don't really care about her retainer. So if she was paired with her retainer, I would have been kind of meh. So the fact that she's paired with Sakura is the only thing that I would have accepted, except maybe like Leo or Takumi. I would have taken those. But I guess I would have taken Korin, but like I don't know. I'm much more happy that she's paired with Sakura. But because she's paired with Sakura and because they're both clerics, I think that's why they went with the cleric route. They didn't give her anything like remotely interesting. They tend to be inspired by one of the characters on the duo or the harmonic for the weapon type and class. So like the fact that they went with a duo of two clerics, it was kind of obvious that they were going to get a cleric alt. So there was nothing much that could really be done there. Like the only way I'm getting my Lance Flyer Elise or my Lance Armor Elise that can save is if they give us like just a solo Elise. Like a solo Elise can be whatever they want. But with a duo, it's not going to happen, and it didn't happen. And like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think that we're going to get any more Elise alts. They have been holding her hostage for 3 years. I don't think that they believe she's marketable. So, you know, I think this is just kind of where we have to end things in terms of my hopes for like a functional Elise emblem. I'm still going to pull for them, obviously, but I'm not expecting too much in terms of like clears from now on because Miraculous is like every time I've had a placeholder, it's always been something that could tank something. And now I'm going to have a full team of characters that can't tank anything. So that's unfortunate, but you gotta, it is what it is. Like there's nothing I can do about it. I have to kind of just like adjust and get accustomed to that being how this emblem is played. In terms for any positive thing that I have to say about Elise, Duo Elise, the art, I am very happy that they did not get Mikuro to do her art. No offense to Mikuro. I think every other character he draws is fine. But Elise, Summer Elise and Hostile Springs Elise, I just don't like the art. I don't know why they just don't look like Elise to me. I mean, obviously you can tell that it's Elise, but like they just don't look on model to me. I don't know why. I just don't really. I'm just not a fan. But like that aside, they got. I'm pretty sure they got the original Sakura artist to draw them. If I'm wrong, I'll put a correction. But I think the original artist for Sakura drew the art, which is I like the original Sakura's art. I'm at least glad that they have one alt with good art. I mean, Resplendent Elise is cute. I like Resplendent Elise and OG Elise. But like, if they ever start giving out resplendents to summer or to like seasonal units, Summer Elise and Hostile Springs Elise need to be first on the list because I don't like their art. I don't. But the art is not like the biggest concern in the universe. The biggest concern in the universe is that I mean, even with the damage dealing special, like that's the only skill they're ever gonna run. So if it's not like reducing damage or ignoring damage reduction or anything like that, it's still not gonna be like an amazing skill, but like let's like I'm gonna try to be positive about one thing. If I'm gonna be positive about one thing with Duo Elise, I'm gonna try to be positive about the damage dealing special, Holy Pressure. So let's hope that Holy Pressure is good. Um let's hope that their perf weapon is good. In terms of the like base kit, like let's hope Breath of Step 4 is good. But other than that, I am admittedly a bit disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. But I did want to make a video talking about it because I had for the longest time I wanted to make a video talking about like what I was hoping for the ideal fourth Elise, and it just never ended up being a thing that I was able to make a video about because I always wanted to. I always planned this video out, and it was gonna be like way too like I was gonna be rambling on forever, which is kind of what this video is. So like I just briefly touched on what I always wanted for the mythical magical fourth Elise and how this is not it, and how I don't know if Elise emblem is gonna be viable. Like they don't have any defenses, so I keep saying this. I'm sorry for rambling, but yeah, I guess I'll just like end the video here. I will try to be optimistic about this Elise alt, and more so than that, I'm going to try to be optimistic and hope that in the future we can get an Elise alt that is blue and melee and can take a hit. So looking forward to the banner to finally drop so that I can blow all my money on orbs and get one copy that is minus attack.